I'm standing on the stall board which is next to the row walkway, which is the defining feature of Chester's row system that runs at first floor level. If you look up, you can see the date 1652. However, really the frontage of this building dates from the 19th century. It was rebuilt in 1862 and the Victorian architect, James Harrison, used some of the timbers in the rebuild. The black and white frontage of the building is therefore part of Chester's 19th century half-timber vernacular revival. There are many examples of this around the city, and it's given the city a characteristic magpie look. If you look up, in between the black painted timbers is mechanical plasterwork painted white, and this is called pargeting. And again, that's a 19th century application. Here we are in the undercroft of God's Providence House, now the home to Providence Gin. An undercroft is a key feature of Chester's Rows buildings. An undercroft is a room or a set of rooms under such a building. It's typical of a row undercroft being only a few steps down from the street. This undercroft, as all of Chester's undercrofts, have medieval origins, but it's been modified over the centuries. These are shallow structures because the medieval builders would have encountered the bedrock either at or very near to the surface. There are deep cellars on the street, but they tend to be later, typically 19th century. There are layers of history in this undercroft. So for example, behind me, you can see the remnants of medieval sandstone masonry. There's also various types of brickwork, some of it 18th century, some of it 19th century. Indeed, where we are on Watergate Street is at the heart of what was the Roman fortress of Diva. And it may be that the sandstone material behind me is reused Roman masonry from the fortress. Since why would the medieval builders want to go and quarry sandstone when there were chunks of Roman masonry around? The covered walkway runs above the front of the building and connects the properties either side. Some of the undercrofts were used as inns, and it's very apt that today we're in an undercroft that is the home of Providence Gin, and thank you to Providence Gin for allowing us to come in and film in this beautiful space. James Harrison, not to be confused with Chester's eminent Georgian architect, Thomas Harrison, also rebuilt and restored many of the city's churches in the 19th century, including building Holy Trinity, which is now the Guild. He also designed what was the Trustee Savings Bank. If you look at the beam above me, it has the inscription, "God's providence is mine inheritance." And local tradition has it that this building was the only dwelling to have escaped the plague. Now, there was an outbreak of plague in 1647 to 1648, and that killed about 2,000 of the citizens of Chester. However, the previous building to this frontage dates from 1652, so that must have applied to an earlier structure again. The front of the building is heavy in symbolism as well. Above me you can see there are some anchors, and anchors are associated with hope and also resilience and steadfastness in the face of adversity. So again, that may reflect the fact that the inhabitants were people who survived the plague. On the buildings are also quatrefoils, and this means 4 leaves. They're common on many of the black and white buildings in Chester. They can also have a symbolic meaning. They can mean good luck. They can also mean or refer to the 4 writers of the Gospels, and they can also represent a form of cross. And as you walk around the city, you'll see them on many of Chester's black and white, particularly revival buildings. And that's my wonder on God's Providence House.